Alright, it's recording.
Okay, so here we are. We're now actually going to do a print run, and for the print run we're using this piece of paper that we have carefully marked some dots, and we have computed the values of these dots, and we're going to calibrate this point down here first, and that coordinate set is 7.5, 5, and because we want to calibrate that point we're going to put comma 1. The next point over is 12.5, 7.5, and we're going to put a 0 after that, comma 0, because that's we're not going to calibrate that point. And then the other 2 points have other coordinates, and then the final point is 20, 12.5, and that's also going to be comma 1. So I'm going to open up a file which I've called K's sample file, and indeed here are the various numbers that we just discussed. Comma 1 at the top, comma 1 at the bottom, and the other thing that we should show is the... Anyone know where we put that paint file? My recent documents. Axis orientation document. Here's a little paint file that we created, and there's the wash station. There's the L shape that's the substrate holder. First substrate holder goes in here. This is the front right corner of the Spotbot, and this is the substrate of interest. And the x-axis is this direction, and the x-origin is at the front of the Spotbot. The y-axis is in this orientation, and the y-origin is to the left of the Spotbot. Okay, so that covers how we're going to organize our coordinate system, and this is the actual set of dots that we're going to be calibrating to, and then we'll do a little bit of a printing run and show that. So let's just show that that's placed in there, how it's placed. These are the spots right here. This is where we're going to be printing. These two substrates here are going to be our preprint substrates, and that stuff is fixed. That's where you print. These are your preprints. You cannot change that stuff, even though it may look like it in the software. Let's put the camera back here and look at this screen again. So the first thing we're going to do is we've got our sample file, the text file right there, and that's on the desktop. We're going to open the SBV Spockle generator, and we're going to go through this first screen, and the second screen is the number of pins. You can only use one pin. The next screen allows you to pick the number of samples you're going to print. The screen after that has a dialog which is of interest to us. Spot spacing, I think, is irrelevant. Just ignore that value. Print offset is it allows you to shift the print from the corner of the substrate. And Alex, perhaps you could use this to keep the 0, 0 where you want. But what we're going to do is go to this spot map file and click load. And we're going to go to K's sample file. And we're going to see an image that looks very similar to the dots that we created on the piece of paper. The red circles indicate the calibration points. Click next. Oh, actually, let's just go over this create dialog just as an aside. If we go in there, you can actually use this to create an orthogonal grid of coordinates at a certain spacing. And we're not going to use that right now, but that could be another way of creating that file rather than making it manually. That only works if it's a rectangular array. Okay, next. These are our two preprint slides. Preprint, preprint, and this is our target substrate. We picked this corner because it's the easiest to access by the camera. Sample loading dwell time, so we're going to spend 0.3 of a second in the microplate picking up sample. We're going to do 4 wash cycles, we're going to do 10 wash dry cycles at the end. For simplicity here, while we're printing, we're just going to change that to, while we're testing and demoing, we're going to change that to 1 and 1, so that way things move a little quicker. You can have a title for your Spotbot file, and then we're going to save that, and we're just going to overwrite K's sample file here. It's the same name as the file we imported earlier, but this is a .spo file and the other one was a .txt file. So save, replace that file, which is fine, finish, and so now I'm writing a new file. Now we're going to go over to Spot app, SBV Spot app. Launching that program, and oh, actually it was already running. Sorry. Okay, a little bit of a mess up here. Wait for this to time out. Yeah. Okay. So now start Spot app again. Okay. There's the dialog. The system has just calibrated itself. We're going to open a SPOCL file. There's K sample file. It's the .spo file. Open. We're going to pick the Array 384 well microplate, select, insert plate number 1. Only got one plate, that's fine. And now we get this dialog here, and it says fiducial point calibration, and we've got either calibrate or cancel. We're going to calibrate. So we're moving over to the load position. We're loading in our calibration pin if that's what we want to use. And now let's go back to the screen here for a second. We're at fiducial point 1, X and Z coordinates. So this is going to allow us to calibrate the first point in X and Z. And the Z calibration is going to set the vertical height for the chip. Now what we need to do, Alex, can you move the camera back please? What we need to do is orient the camera so that it's able to see the X ordinate, and we can eyeball through the viewfinder at that first dot, and then what we can do is open up the EOS utility, all programs, Canon utilities, EOS utility. And there it is right there, EOS utility. Or the other easy way to do that is just to turn the camera on, off and on again. And then it'll be detected. And the option you want to pick is camera settings, remote shooting. And you get this little dialog here. And we've kind of already gone over the dialog, so I'm not going to spend much time there. We're going to just do live view shooting. Okay, and there's the dot of interest. We're going to hop right on that dot. We're going to zoom in. We're pretty much in focus. And we're then going to go to fiducial point calibration over here. We're going to pick the vertical dialog, step size 1 millimeter. I'm going to ignore the camera display. I'm going to look in the Spotbot and just move it so that we can see in the Spotbot. So I'm basically going to look until that pin touches down because that's the easiest and fastest thing to do. I'm just clicking away while I'm looking in there, and there, I'm touching the paper now. And now I'm going to pick lateral, and I'm going to go. One thing to note is this dialog is as if you were sitting in front of the Spotbot, but this view is because of the camera from the side. So we're going to move left to go back, and we're going to move front to go forwards. I've just realized there is one other thing we could do. We could choose to use these two little arrow keys right here, or rotate keys, or we could just rotate, but that might be a little confusing. Let's just do it the plain old regular way right now. So now we're kind of closer. Let's step to step size 100 microns and move back a notch or two, and to the left a notch or two. Okay, and pretty much, let's go and click on live mode focus. Okay, now that's not perfect, so I'm just going to go and manually jiggle the focus a little bit. And I'm going to click on 200%. Now, we can use this high precision image shot and see what we get there. And we can zoom in to 200% here. And